Welcome back, everyone, to the Wellness Blueprint. It's hard to believe this is already our fifth deep dive together.
Wow, yeah, 5
I
already.
know. Time flies when you're having fun, or I guess when you're diving deep into all these different wellness journeys.
Right. And speaking of journeys, this one feels particularly timely.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, with the new year just around the corner,
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are looking for that, I don't know, that fresh start vibe,
Yeah.
ready to design that life we really want.
Totally.
But let's be real for a second. Is anyone else out there already feeling kind of resolution fatigued?
Oh, big time. Every January, it's the same thing. Gyms are packed. Everyone's suddenly best friends with kale.
Yeah. And then February rolls around and it's back to square one.
Exactly.
So this time, we thought we'd ditch the whole resolution pressure cooker
Oh, good idea.
and explore something a little more, well, powerful, more sustainable.
I like it.
Yeah.
What did you have in mind?
I'm talking about setting intentions.
Ooh, intentions.
Yeah. And to guide us on this deep dive, we're turning to the work of someone who's really built a fascinating approach to this, Angelica Chapman.
You know what? I've seen her stuff online, and I'm really intrigued by how she frames wellness.
Me too. It's not just about quick fixes or trendy diets.
Yeah.
It's really about looking at the whole picture.
Totally, like a holistic approach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've got a ton of her material to dig into, like blog posts, product descriptions from her website, even a clip from a YouTube live she did with another wellness expert.
Nice. So we're getting like a 360-degree view of her whole philosophy.
Exactly. And I thought a good place to start might be with Angelica's own health journey.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, how her own experiences led her to where she is now.
Right, because she's really open about her struggles with high blood pressure
Yeah.
and how that was kind of a wake-up call for her. She realized she needed to make some serious changes.
You know, I think those personal stories are always so powerful, so relatable.
Totally. It's like you see how someone navigated their own challenges, and it gives you permission to do the same.
For sure.
And in this YouTube video, she talks about how she made certain practices non-negotiables in her life, like hot yoga, breath work, really prioritizing stress management.
Interesting.
Oh, and get this. She even set a goal to run a 10K, and she actually did it.
Wow, that's commitment.
Yeah.
I mean, that says a lot about her discipline, putting those intentions into action.
Doesn't it? And it makes her advice that much more compelling, right?
Oh, well, yeah, for sure.
It's like, it's coming from a place of experience, not just theory.
Exactly. Lived experience.
Totally. And when you look at her business, those themes are woven through everything she does.
So what are some of those key themes that stood out to you?
Well, the first one that jumps out is this huge emphasis on mindfulness.
Right. It's everywhere these days, but she seems to really walk the walk.
Yeah, it's not just a buzzword for her. Like you see it in those mindful eating posts, the breathing technique she teaches, even how she describes her teas, teas designed to enhance focus.
Right. It's all connected.
Exactly. It's like mindfulness is the foundation for everything else.
And then, of course, there's the gut health piece, which she talks about constantly.
Oh, yeah, like nonstop. But what's interesting to me is that she goes beyond the usual probiotic spiel.
Right. It's deeper than that.
She really gets into that gut-brain connection, how gut health impacts our mood, immunity, everything, really.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. Like, it suddenly makes all those detox teas and gut-friendly recipes seem way more relevant.
It's a total aha moment, right?
Big time.
And it all ties into another one of her big themes that focus on natural solutions.
Oh, yeah, she's big on that.
She really believes in harnessing the body's natural ability to heal itself, whether that's through herbs, teas, essential oils, or practices like yoga.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's where I get a little skeptical. I love a good cup of tea as much as the next person, but can they really be that impactful?
It's a fair question, right? Like, it's not like drinking a magic potion.
Exactly.
But I think Angelica's point is more about incorporating those natural allies into a holistic approach.
I see.
It's like, imagine you're trying to cultivate a beautiful garden.
Okay.
Those teas, herbs, mindful practices, they're like the sunshine and water that help your intentions blossom.
Ooh, I like that analogy. So it's about setting the stage for growth, but the real work comes from within.
Exactly. And that's where intention setting comes in.
All right, so let's talk about that. How does she actually guide people through this whole intention setting process?
Well, she emphasizes that it all starts with introspection, like really getting clear on your values.
Okay.
What matters most to you? What kind of life do you want to create?
Right, so figuring out your why before The how.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because if your intentions aren't aligned with your core values, they're probably going to fizzle out.
that makes sense. But how do you translate those big, often abstract values into actual concrete intentions?
That's where things get really interesting, and that's what we're going to dive into right after this. Well, one thing she really emphasizes is framing your intentions as positive statements.
Okay, so instead of saying like, I should eat less sugar.
Exactly. It's more like, I am committed to nourishing my body with healthy foods.
Interesting. So it's about empowerment rather than obligation.
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of your choices instead of feeling like you're following a set of rules.
I like that.
And she's also a big believer in breaking those intentions down into smaller, actionable steps.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not so overwhelming.
Right. It's like planning a road trip. You know your destination, that's your big intention, but you also need a map, a route to get there. Those are your daily actions.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this is way more practical than just vaguely hoping to be healthier this year.
Right. It's about getting specific.
Can you give me an example? Like, let's say my intention is I will prioritize my mental health. What would some of those daily map points look like?
Well, start by asking yourself, what activities genuinely nourish your mental well-being? Maybe it's taking a walk in nature, journaling for 5 minutes before bed, or setting boundaries around screen time.
Hmm, those are all good ones. You know, I actually started meditating a few months ago, and I have to say, even just 5 minutes a day makes a huge difference.
There you go. You've already discovered one of your map points.
Awesome.
And maybe another one could be incorporating Angelica's Brain Boost Tea into your morning routine.
Oh, yeah, the teas. I was just about to ask about
He
those.
describes it as this amazing blend of herbs designed to enhance focus and clarity.
I love that. So how does she suggest using them to support this whole intention setting thing?
Well, imagine this. You brew a cup of Brain Boost tea each morning while setting your intention for the day.
Oh.
You say to yourself, today I will approach my work with focus and clarity. The act of preparing the tea becomes a ritual, a reminder of your commitment.
That's actually brilliant. It's like creating a positive association, a little ceremony to kickstart your day with intention.
Exactly.
What about her other teas? I remember you mentioned a Marigold Energy Black Tea and a Detox Tea.
Right. The Marigold Energy Tea is all about, well, energy.
Makes sense.
It's perfect if your intention is to feel more vibrant and alive.
Okay.
Maybe you incorporate it into your afternoon slump buster routine, replacing that second cup of coffee with something that gives you sustained energy without the jitters.
Interesting. And the Detox Tea, is that more about physical well-being or does it tie into intentions around mental clarity as well?
Well, Angelica is really big on the gut-brain connection.
Right.
She believes gut health is crucial for both physical and mental well-being.
Oh, I see.
So the detox tea can definitely be part of a broader intention to prioritize your overall well-being, to cleanse and nourish your body from the inside out.
So it all ties together. I'm getting it now. It's not about the teas themselves being magical, but about using them as tools, as reminders, to help you stay on track with those daily actions that lead to your bigger goals.
Exactly. They're like little allies on your well-being journey.
I love that. But ultimately, the real work, the real transformation, comes from the choices you make each day, right?
Absolutely. And sometimes those choices involve letting go of things that no longer serve you.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me of something Angelica mentioned in that YouTube video.
What's that?
She talked about having to make a choice between constantly trying to please others and choosing yourself.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Must have been a really difficult realization.
I think it's something a lot of people struggle with, especially around the new year.
I could see that.
We get so caught up in what we should be doing, what others expect of us, and we lose sight of what truly nourishes our own well-being.
It's like we need permission to choose ourselves, to prioritize our own needs and desires.
Exactly. And sometimes giving ourselves that permission means saying no to things, even things that seem important. Maybe it's that extra commitment that's draining your energy or a relationship that's become more taxing than fulfilling.
That's a powerful message, especially as we head into the new year. It's not just about adding things in, but also about creating space for what truly matters.
Absolutely.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of intention setting, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
For me, it's the power of conscious choice, moving from the pressure of resolutions to the empowerment of setting intentions that are aligned with your values, your desires, your vision for the life you want to create.
And remembering that it's not about perfection, but about progress. One small step, one cup of tea, one conscious choice at a time.
Exactly. Speaking of those small steps, Angelica made a really interesting point in that YouTube Live.
Hmm.
She said, the decision that you make today, you either pay for it or you'll get paid by it tomorrow. What do you think she meant by that?
It makes me think about the ripple effect of our choices. Like each decision we make, no matter how small, is either an investment in our future well-being or a debt we'll have to pay later.
Exactly. And that brings us to a crucial question for all of us.
Which is,
What choices do we need to make to align with our deepest intentions? What might we need to let go of to make space for the life we truly desire?
those are big questions. But they're the ones worth pondering as we step into a new year. It's a chance to hit the reset button and intentionally create a life that feels aligned, authentic, and fulfilling.
And remember, you don't have to have all the answers right now. It's a journey of self-discovery, and each step, each choice brings you closer to the life you envision.
So what can our listeners do right now to start putting these ideas into action? What's one tangible step they can take today?
Well, Angelica suggests starting with a simple reflection exercise.
Okay.
Take a few minutes to jot down your core values, those guiding principles that shape your life. Then ask yourself, what intentions can I set that are aligned with these values? What small, actionable steps can I take each day to bring those intentions to life?
That's a great starting point. It's about getting clear on your why and then mapping out the how.
Exactly.
And for those who want a little extra support, I know Angelica offers a free downloadable guide on intention setting on her website.
Oh, that's right. We'll be sure to include a link to that in the show notes, along with links to her social media channels and, of course, where you can find those delicious teas we talked about.
Perfect. Because sipping on a cup of Brain Boost tea while journaling about your intentions sounds like the perfect way to kick off a new year, don't you think?
I couldn't agree more. And with that, I think we're ready to wrap up this deep dive.
Wait, before we do, I have one more question for you.
Sure.
You've clearly spent a lot of time exploring Angelica's work, and I'm curious, what's the one thing that stood out to you the most?
That's a good question. You know, it's her unwavering belief in the power of self-care. It's not selfish, it's essential, and it's not a luxury. It's an investment in our well-being, which then allows us to show up more fully in all areas of our lives.
That's such a beautiful way to frame it. It's not just about bubble baths and face masks.
Right.
It's about consciously choosing actions that nourish our mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that ripples out into everything we do.
Absolutely. And I think as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into intention setting with Angelica Chapman,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with this thought. Imagine yourself a year from now. What would your life look like if you truly prioritized your well-being? What would you be doing differently? What kind of person would you have become?
Ooh, that's powerful. It's not just about checking things off a to-do list.
Right.
It's about creating a life that feels aligned and joyful.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to have all the answers right now. Just start with one small step, one intention, one choice that feels good and true for you.
I love that. And if you need a little inspiration along the way, be sure to check out the show notes for links to Angelica's website, her social media, and all those amazing resources she offers, including that free intention setting guide.
Oh, and of course, we'll include links to where you can find those delicious teas we discussed. Who knows, maybe sipping a cup of Brain Boost tea will become your new ritual for setting those powerful intentions.
I'm already adding that to my morning routine. And with that, we've reached the end of our 5th Wellness Blueprint deep dive.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
Likewise. And to our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey of well-being. Remember, you have the power to create a life you love. One intention, one choice, one step at a time.
Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep designing a life that truly lights you up.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive, exploring a whole new facet of well-being. See you then.